have nieces. I'm in the same situation as this person, by the way, because I have 3 nieces. Both of their parents are just terribly unhealthy, and I'm seeing the real life effects on my nieces as a result of that. The one is now 19 or 20. On her second marriage, they're separated. She has a child. She jumps from one relationship to the other relationship. My other nieces are about 2 years apart, each one of them, right? I'm seeing the effects on their life, the way that it is literally molding them and helping direct their path through life in an unhealthy way. Can I do anything about my nieces now that most of them are adult free agents? No, because even now, the rights, responsibility, and authority over them don't belong to me. They never have. They didn't belong to me when they were children, and they don't belong to me now. The difference is that now, when I run into them, I can ask them questions, and that's the way I would recommend that you handle a similar situation. I can ask them questions to cause them to think, but that's about the extent of it. Unless a person comes, you might ask yourself, how does Barnett even have a business with the last symptom? He's telling us not to volunteer advice that people don't want to hear. And he's telling us that our inherent rights, responsibility, and authority begin and end practically right around a circle around our feet. How does Barnett even do this last symptom thing? Well, I'll tell you how I do it. The way I do it is I lay information out there. And people who respond to it, then I try to help. But I'm not pushing it on anybody, right? You're not listening to this show or watching this show on Rumble or YouTube because I held you down, stuck a couple clips in your eyes, and presented the show right in front of you. Are you? That is not my approach. My approach is to just lay it out there. Those who want it can partake of it. Those who don't want it can reject it. And that has been the way it's been since the beginning I started this. The other thing is that when I challenge you individually with something, it's because you have come to me specifically for advice. So that's why I'm not overstepping my line in the sand. You have scheduled a call with me, and you've done so for the explicit purpose of me sharing my observations with you. So they're in a phone call, and there's many people who've had phone calls with me who can attest to this. If you're talking along and you say something that's just total horse pooey, I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but I've been really making a concerted effort to not curse. And I'm doing well, by the way. I'm doing well on that, so that should encourage you. If that's something that you're interested in doing, let's talk to me about it on the Last Symptom Locals group, and I can tell you the techniques that I've been using to remind myself not to do that. I've been listening. I've been editing a lot of the past shows, and I got kind of carried away in a few instances where I'd get really worked up over a topic or something like that, and I felt like I was using cuss words a little bit more than I want to reflect on me. So I've edited a lot of that out, and nowadays I'm even though I still believe, like at the beginning, when I started The Last Symptom, I said that when you really want to get somebody's attention, sometimes a curse word does that. But in today's world, curse words have become so common, and even the most intense curse words have become so common that I'm kind of the opinion now that if you really want to get somebody's attention, you avoid using the curse word. You avoid it, because that now is the opposite. It used to be shocking, like you'd hear a certain word, and that would snap a person out of their kind of mindset. Not true, I don't think now. Now I think that the avoidance of such words can have just as strong of an effect as the curse word once had 10 years ago. So anyway, again, I'm getting off topic. So I had to get myself a sweater. But so if you're talking along, you say something that's just total horse pooey, and you're on a phone call with me, I definitely stop you, and I say, nope, I got to challenge you right there. What you're saying is completely bunk, and here's why. That is not me stepping outside of my circle in the sand, because you've come to me for that, right? You scheduled the call with me specifically for that. But when I'm out and about, and even when I'm interacting with my nieces, I can't do that. I don't do that. If my niece I've just bumped into my niece, and she starts talking about whatever, and I can see that she's expressing something, it is just fundamentally flawed and unhealthy. I keep my lips zipped. Why? Because I have no right to interfere in her life as an adult free agent. I don't have that right. It doesn't matter how much I love her. What do I do instead? What I do instead is I will present a question. So I think in about a year ago, well, we were talking about this very niece that I run into her. She had the baby. She had a ring on her finger. And I said, what's that all about? I knew she had just gotten divorced. I said, what's that all about? She says, well, I'm engaged. I'm getting married. And I said, oh, okay. I said, didn't you just get divorced? She says, yeah. So I presented a question. And my question was, why do you want to do that? I'm just curious. Why do you want to get married again so soon? She says, well, it's just what I want to do. I thought, all right, well, it's your life. I love you so much and want good things for you. I said, have you ever thought about what life might be like if you just spend a couple years just kind of by yourself, getting to know yourself, looking after yourself? I don't remember exactly what her answer was, but clearly she had not ever thought of that. She hadn't, and I would say that's true for a lot of my audience too, because when we're unhealthy, we get our identity through our relationship. So what does that translate into in real life? It translates into bouncing from one relationship to the next relationship. And because we never get to know ourselves and know what our underlying unhealth is, we bounce into the same types of relationship, right? It's a craving and it's a desire that you can't even put words to. Why can't you put words to it? Because you're unhealthy. You don't know yourself. You don't know what is provoking these desires and cravings. Most of it's just totally unhealthy bunk. Most people and their craving to be in a relationship is just 99% unhealthy bunk. So I presented some questions to try to see if she could arrive at, it's like when we limit ourselves, right? And then you get like a mentor who challenges your thoughts on that with some really sly questions that cause you to say, well, right, like, why am I limiting myself to this? So that's how I interact with her. I don't step outside of my circle in the sand and give her advice that is unsolicited. I don't do that, period. It's very hard sometimes, and it's totally contrary to how I used to live, because the way I used to live was do this. When you're unhealthy, you're trying to control your environment. And what makes up that environment? People with their own individual inherent rights, responsibility, and authority. So you're trying to control things you have no control over, and you will never have any control over. It's incredible to go from that type of a lifestyle of trying to control your environment to just letting your environment be what it is. and making decisions only for yourself. Do you remember what the topic of today is? Acceptance. Are you starting to see how acceptance contributes to that? Remember, acceptance is not agreeing with a thing. Acceptance is just simply, all right, this is the truth. Then that's what I've got to work with. I'm going to, from now on, my approach is going to be in harmony with my acceptance of this truth. That's acceptance.